Good afternoon. This week I am going to be reading exclusively sci-fi. So if you guys watch my Bookoply TBR, you will know that I accidentally ended up with a considerable amount of science fiction on my TBR somehow, which actually worked out because Steph from Steph Loves is doing its Sci-Fi July, obviously throughout the month of July, which is like not a readathon, it's just something that Steph wanted to do to encourage her to read more sci-fi, and she made a bingo board and everything, so I could not commit to Sci-Fi July for the entire month just because, like, even if nothing else, I had my book club books and stuff, but I did want to try and at least make it like a week-long thing, and the way my TBR lined up was perfect. So we're going to be reading 3 books in this week's vlog, fingers crossed. I have The 100 by Cass Morgan. This one's on my TBR as a chance card. I have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This one was on for most recent purchase, although it was the Fairy Loot editions that arrived. Because I have a paperback of Red Rising, I am going to be reading the paperback physically though, instead of like potentially damaging special editions. And then one of the prompts I had was just sci-fi, and I added Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. So I have no strategy for this week, no preference of which order I read these books in. So last night I did put a poll on Patreon to help me select my first book. I tried to be a little bit more obscure with the emojis this time than I was last time. So for The 100 I used an earth emoji because this is about 100 teenagers that are sent to Earth. For Red Rising I used a pickaxe because the main characters in here are mining on Mars. And for Ready Player 2 I used a desert emoji because one of the main location where this book takes place is called the Oasis. And the winner of the vote with the majority was the desert, so Ready Player 2. This is the sequel to one of my favorite books of all time. It is an unnecessary sequel. Ready Player 1 was great. Like, I'm not necessarily mad. I think I might be mad when I finish this, but there is a sequel. They really didn't need one. So Ready Player 1 is set in this futuristic version of the world where the Earth is not a great place to be. So the majority of people escaped to this virtual reality called the Oasis. And the creator of the Oasis, James Halliday, passed away a number of years before the start of the story. And he left a series of Easter eggs hidden in the game, and whoever managed to find all of the Easter eggs would inherit control of the Oasis, like full ownership of it, as well as all of James Halliday's estate. So the main story of Ready Player 1 is that the main character, I think he's called Wade Watts, stumbles across the first Easter egg, and then it starts a race essentially where everybody is trying to find the rest of them, and the winner will claim all. So I have started this one. I'm only like 12 pages into it, and the plot of this one seems to be that before James Halliday died, he had invented a new kind of, like, I want to say a controller, it's not a controller, it's like a headset and can access your brain, so that instead of being in, because they have like suits and haptic gloves and helmets and stuff to be in the Oasis, so instead of doing all that, it provides a very real experience where you can like smell everything and taste everything, and instead of having to move your body to move your avatar in the game, you can just like think and it happens. And James Halliday recognized that this was potentially dangerous, so he did not release it onto the market, but as his estate has just been inherited, this invention has also been inherited as well, so the main character is going to have to decide what to do with that knowledge. So to get through all 3 of these I have to read, I think it's like 130 pages a day or something. That one's 360 pages, so it shouldn't take me too long. I am a little bit nervous about it. I haven't heard very good reviews, and like I said, Ready Player 1 is my favorite book, but I did pre-order it because I was really excited and hoped that it would be good. But now I'm going to try and go into it with a little bit of an open mind. I'm not expecting great things, but I'm trying not to expect it to be bad. So I am sat in exactly the same location as I was yesterday, wearing exactly the same, but I mean, it's hot. It's hot and I just cannot be bothered. Like, my appearance has definitely suffered over the last week with me, 1, hurting my back, and 2, the heat, because I can just no to makeup, no to looking presentable. It's a struggle. I'm just not a fan of this extreme heat, and I used to really love it as well when I was younger, and even now I kind of really like the heat. But when you're dealing with like a sore back or a cat that needs like constant maintenance and restraining, I'd rather it was a little bit cooler. So I'm hoping the heat breaks soon, But I got a parcel today and I'm really excited about this. I know exactly what it is. It is from Del Rey, so thank you so much to Del Rey for sending this to me. Oh, this is bigger than I thought it would be, like size wise, because this is The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik. So this is a absolutely stunning proof. It is. I thought it'd be like normal paperback size. Oh my god, we have a new letter. I loved it when I got a finished hard copy of the last one. It came with a letter from the Scholomance. So this one says, "Dear student, with our sincerest commiserations, it is time to return to the Scholomance. And this year, the deadly final ritual of graduation looms. Will you be one of the few to make it out alive? As you are doubtless aware, there are innumerable maleficaria prowling the world in search of vulnerable magic users, and such an encounter would most likely prove fatal. Here at the Scholomance, the world's preeminent institution for the study of magic, you will learn to defend yourself against these creatures of darkness. However, they are no less plentiful within the walls of the Scholomance. There is no sanctuary. You will learn or you will die. The Scholomance is the only place that can keep you safe, for now. In the end, only your wit, strength and cunning can ensure you make it out alive. We earnestly hope that you survive to graduate. Yours with commiserations, the Scholomance." So this is the second book in the Scholomance series, and in this world there are monsters called maleficaria who hunt magic wielders. So all of the magic wielders are sent to the Scholomance to learn everything they need to know about their magic and to help them defend themselves against these monsters. However, due to a technical malfunction, the graduation hall of this school is full of monsters because there's wards surrounding every other part of the school, but because of this technical malfunction, the graduation hall is broken. So to graduate, you have to fight your way out of this room of monsters. So the main character Elle is trying to secure an alliance or join one of the like prestigious magic, I can't remember what they're called. They're not called guilds, but it's like a group of magic users that exist like outside of the school that work together to help each other out. It's like an elite kind of situation. Is it called an enclave maybe? And she is trying to find one of these to ensure that she will actually be able to graduate. On the back of this as well, it says, "Would you survive graduation?" This is also a wrap, and this is beautiful. So the release date on this is the 27th of September. I do also have another arc for September as well. So I will be reading this and that other arc either in August, if I can fit it in, or the beginning of September. But thank you so much to Del Rey for sending this to me. I really enjoyed Deadly Education. I didn't love the writing in it and the way that the world was built, but I really love the main character of Elle and I can relate to her a lot. So kind of very mixed feelings. It came out as 3 stars, but just because of how much I love Elle, I'm really excited to continue and read this one. I was gonna bring Ready Player 2 through with me so I could let you guys know how I'm doing. I'm currently on the 100 page mark, and I have to say the first 70 pages just So the plot of this one is, as I said, he's found this new like headset and he has to decide whether to release it into the world. In the first few chapters, himself and some of the co-owners decide that they are indeed going to release this device, and as soon as they do that, a new quest is started from James Halliday that he must have planned before he died, and the main character has to find the 7 shards of the Siren's soul. So I'm guessing that the plot of this book is going to follow him collecting each of these shards to like see what the deal is with that, because nobody knows what the prize of this is, unlike the last Easter egg hunt they did where they knew that the prize was going to be Halliday's estate. My issue with the first 70 pages of this is that in the first book we're following Wade, who is from like a real low-income horrible place. He lives in the stacks, which are like trailers that are all stacked up, and it's where the incredibly poor live, and he uses the Oasis as an escape, and he's like the underdog, you know, like he's fighting against this corporation who also want to win and take over the Oasis. This guy now has as much money as he would like, he has as much time as he would like, he has no purpose in his life. So it just goes through like how he's producing his own movies that are like a fan thing between like 4 different movies, because he can have like the likeness of actors because of the technology, and like he's creating a spaceship so that when the Earth dies, then him and his friends can go to space and send embryos to another planet. And it's just kind of like, I donated $1 billion here and then I spent $1 billion inventing this new thing. I invented this thing that's like a mechanical spider that will protect me when I'm in the Oasis, and it's just like he has no limits, and I'm finding the extents that Ernest Cline has gone to with this limitless cash flow and limitless technology a little bit ridiculous and tiring to read. It's just really like indulgent. Like Ernest Cline is just dumping all of the possible ideas of cool things he had in his brain that would be possible with money and technology onto the page. And while some of me is enjoying it because I like the video game aspects of it and like what could be possible in video games in the future based on what is possible now, it's just really tedious, and it just like there's no point to it, because right in one of the first 2 chapters it kind of sets you up for like what's going to happen. It says that they released this headset thing onto the market and that caused some of them to fall out and all of this other stuff. That makes you think that the story's then going to start there, but then it goes through another like 50 pages of just running through everything that's happened in the 3 years since they sold this headset, and that's just, I don't know. But we're finally getting on with the quest now, so I'm hoping it picks up a little bit more, and I will of course keep you posted on my thoughts. So if you're wondering if I've just moved my camera so it looks like I'm sitting somewhere different than I have been for the past 2 days, you would be absolutely correct. I am about to start tidying this room once I've made my thumbnail for the video I've just edited, but I can't really film anywhere else right now because it's a whole mess. I have started, I've moved all my stock out of here. Now I just need to tidy up all of the books and stuff that's been like filming and just unboxings and all of that kind of stuff. But I digress. I received a parcel today and I don't know what it is, so we're gonna open it. So we have 2 books in here: A Worthy Opponent by Katie Robert and The Beast by Katie Robert. So these are 2 books in the Wicked Villain series, and I absolutely know who these are from. These are from Lamia. Thank you so much. Lamia has been on a Katie Robert kick recently and has been reading the Sabine Valley books, and then there's also Neon Gods that's been released recently, all of which are set in the same world as the Wicked Villain series. And then Lamia asked me the other day if I have the rest of the Wicked Villains books, and I said I only have book 2. So I'm guessing these are books 3 and 4, although I don't remember which order they go in. Okay, so The Beast is number 4, and the note that goes with The Beast, it says, "This is the best smut I've read this year, but I'm biased since I'm a sucker for The Beast. Hope you enjoy. Much love from Lamia." And where's that other one gone? "Since you plan on continuing with this series, I had to get you these 2 from Lamia." Thank you so much. I made a vlog where I read these, kind of in the style of the Ember and the Ashes one that I've done, because obviously as well as just like binging a full series in a week, I also want to be finishing the series I've already started, and binging would be a good way to do that. However, I don't know, like, would you guys mind if I didn't read the first book in the series in the video, if I just read like the last 3 or 4 or whatever in the video? Let me know your thoughts on that, and thank you so much to Lamia for sending these my way. I'm a big fan of Katie Robert based on that one book that I've read, but I'm definitely excited to read more because, as Lamia said with The Beast, Katie Robert's smut is the best smut that I've ever read. And I have to say, I'm not like overly experienced in smut, but I've read quite a bit, and Katie Robert is like up there. She's real good with smut. So I am just about on my way to bed. I have 55 pages of Ready Player 2 left that I'm hoping to read in bed before I go to sleep tonight. And honestly, there are like enjoyable moments in this book, but it is a bit of a drag. It's a bit of a drag, but I will get into all of that tomorrow when I've actually finished this. But because I anticipate that I'm going to finish this tonight and need something else to pick up tomorrow, I have put a poll on Instagram. Once again, it is just pick an emoji, and it is the 2 that didn't win the Patreon poll. So it is the Earth for the 100 and the Pickaxe for Red Rising. And I'm a little bit sad, you know, because currently the Earth is winning with 67%, and I would have rather have read Red Rising, because I think that the 100 is going to be a quick read. So if it turned out that it took me like 3 days to read Red Rising and I had to squeeze the other one in for Sunday, the 100 would have been the easiest pick. But it seems I may be picking up the 100 tomorrow, but I will of course let you know for sure when the time comes.
I left my phone at my brother's place. It's not my fault, don't walk away, 'cause I don't quite know what you're running from. 'Cause all my friends, they think I'm fun. You take yourself too seriously. I don't wanna hear you say we waste our time. honestly, I'm fine.
Good afternoon. I have had a terrible day today, so it's taken me a long ass time to finally get a moment where I'm calm and not doing 25 things at once to bring you guys some news on my reading. So I finished Ready Player 2 last night, and I'm sad to say that I gave it 2 stars, but I don't think it's terrible. I think if this was not a sequel to Ready Player 1, if this was just a book that I picked up and read, it would have got a low 3-star. But just with knowing how good Ready Player 1 is, with it being one of my favorite books of all time, this was just completely unnecessary, and it just like cheapened the whole thing for me, so I did have to give it 2 stars. It's weird because this is like, in parts, it's an info dump of all of the cool pop culture stuff that Ernest Cline knows. So like in the Oasis, there's a planet for pretty much anything imaginable, and in the first book there's a lot of 80s references and just a lot of like pop culture references in general. And this book in particular, we're going on the quest for the 7 shards of the Siren Soul, and each of these are on a different planet. So some of them were easier to get, and the planets were more to do with the life of the siren as opposed to pop culture that the siren was interested in. But some of them were like deep dives into her specific interests. So the earliest example we have in here is like John Hughes films, and there's a planet dedicated to all of the John Hughes movies where they have like the settings and all of the NPCs and stuff like that. So in those areas there was a lot of detail really went into this book, but then in other areas it just felt poorly researched. Like the whole thing about the siren. The siren was a real person, and apparently she went to the US on like an exchange kind of trip when she was a teenager, when she was 17 years old, which was in the late 1980s. And after this exchange trip was over, she had to go back to the UK to finish her final year of high school. And it said multiple times throughout the book that that is what she did. She went back to the UK to finish her final year of high school. High school in the UK ends when you're 16, and then you go on to further education if you would like to. I think it has changed in the year since I graduated, so that you have to do something up until the age of 18, like you have to do your A-levels or an apprenticeship or something like that. But that's not high school, that's like further education past high school, that is college, and then you go to university at 18. So things like that just really bugged me. It was also unnecessarily repetitive, and it just did read a little bit like an info dump of all of the cool stuff that Ernest Cline knows and all of the cool stuff he imagined. But there were elements of it that I did enjoy. I enjoyed the questing aspect, this whole quest for the 7 shards of the Siren Soul. However, I will say that the quest only like kicks in halfway through the book, and it kept getting to a point, like right in the first chapter or the second chapter, it mentioned the quest, and I expected him to get straight into it and to working on this quest, but it kept going on and on and on. There is a very cartoon-esque villain in here as well, and then just unnecessary stuff, and it was okay. It was okay, but I was right. This was not a sequel that Ready Player 1 needed. This was on my Bookoply TBR to read a sci-fi, and that is now complete. And let me get the results for the Instagram poll. The poll hasn't changed in terms of which one's winning. I'm just going to check what the percentage is at. If only people knew what they were voting for, they would not be voting for this. I know they would not. Okay, so we are on 69% for the Earth emoji, 31% for the pickaxe emoji, and there has been 1,147 votes in total. I just added up 788 and 359 really quickly in my head. So the winner of the poll is The 100 by Cass Morgan. This one is a young adult sci-fi. I don't know whether it's more sci-fi or dystopian, but dystopian is a subgenre of sci-fi anyway, and I think it's a little bit of both. But this is set in a world where all of the humans have gone into space. I think they live just like orbiting Earth, and 100 juvenile delinquents are sent to Earth to see if it is habitable and to recolonize it again. That is all I know about this. I know that it has a TV show. I've heard the show is better than the book. When I've read the book, I may consider watching the show. I picked this book up from a charity shop not long after the show had been out. I think it was probably like season 2 or something of the show, and since then like I've lost a little bit of interest in the show, especially seeing as I heard that the ending was absolutely awful. But I'm still going to be reading the book, and then once I have read the book I am able to watch the show. A lot of shows I just watch without reading the book because shows tend to take it in a different direction because they have a lot of scope unless they're like a mini series. So your standard like 22 episode TV shows tend to go in a different direction. Things like the Vampire Diaries, you know, which is way better than the books, but I do like to compare and just like see the differences, you know, because I don't know, it's interesting to me. So I am, what even time is it? I don't have a clue. It's nearly 4 o'clock. I've made candles today. I spent a lot of time this morning sorting out that thing that ruined my day, which essentially was like I ordered something and last night or like early evening it was supposed to be delivered, and they said it was delivered. Nobody came to my house, but I thought because of where I am, most of the depots are in Leeds, so if it gets late on they don't tend to deliver, and I'm like, yeah, okay, the driver might have had a lot on. Bear in mind that this item is perishable, it needs to be in the refrigerator. So I rebooked it for today and they gave me a delivery time for between 9:15 and 11:15. So I was like, cool, because it needs to be refrigerated, it'll come early. And then I got another thing at 9:15 saying that they'd attempted to deliver it, and I was like, you absolutely have not. Like, I know my doorbell works and nobody has knocked. So I went onto a live chat with the delivery company and they said, we're looking into your thing. Like, they asked me what was wrong, told them, they said they were looking into it. I said thank you, and then they said this is taking longer than normal while we look into your order. So then I just left it. 5 minutes passed, I was like, do you have any updates? 10 minutes passed, so I was like, hello. 40 minutes, absolutely nothing. And then Curtis took over and I think it was like an hour and they hadn't said anything. So he opened a new live chat and apparently they can't get hold of the driver or the depot, and they don't have time to chase that up. So I now have to contact the seller to replace the item for me, and then the seller has to contact the delivery service, which, because it's a perishable item, like on the website it says like, don't reschedule your delivery because your item will perish, but like they haven't even attempted to deliver it. So I kind of wanted to get them to deliver it today to me, but it's just not happening. So I spent all morning dealing with that. I have made all of my candles. I need to just proof my video that's going up today, and also prepare my website for the restock tomorrow, and also prepare Etsy. I will put a link to Etsy as well in my description box from now on for EU customers, because I keep forgetting to do that, because I think we're going out tomorrow. I'm taking a day off tomorrow and I'm going to work on Saturday instead of tomorrow, so I want to get all of that sorted so that I can go out for a bit tomorrow, because to be honest, actually I'm getting a little bit depressed with just like being in all the time and not being able to do very much. So we're gonna have a little day out and I am excited. So it is almost 6 p.m. it's 5:45, and I just wanted to say that I'm feeling real good today. Like I was saying earlier how I've been feeling like trash, but today is the first day in a long time, like after all of that stuff was sorted with that delivery, that I've settled into work and actually got a lot of stuff done. Like, it's the first day that I've had a really productive day. Just been feeling really unmotivated and shit, and it is because of not going out very much, not really doing anything, spending a whole ton of time in the house, and then with hurting my back, not being able to exercise really like drilled that in for me as well, because I wasn't even getting like the main part of activity that I had been getting every single day. But I did actually do my first workout last night since I hurt my back, just like a 15-minute low impact ride on Peloton, and then a 15-minute upper body stretch to help release some of the muscles in my back. And I think that's really helped. Doing some more like active physical work with like candle making today, plus doing some admin, has also really helped. And now I'm back. I haven't felt like this in so long, and it's not like a great way to feel, to be honest, because we all know I have an issue with overworking. But it's 6:50, so I'm done for the day. I've done all of the work that I needed to do, but I kind of like, while I have the momentum, want to keep going. So I may do just a little bit of tidying just to give myself a little bit of busy work to do. But I just thought that I would share with you guys that for the first time in a while, like, I've had a good day and I feel all right. Like, I still have half of the day left, so who knows how I'll feel later, but I'm feeling good right now.
I left my keys at my cousin's house. He says I need to leave you cause you're bringing me down, and you're all worked up cause I got home late. You hold this night against me till 3008. You take yourself too seriously. I don't wanna hear you say we will
So I've been watching Sex Life because Steph told me to like a week ago. So Curtis was out at his mum's, so I put it on. It's now 2 AM and I've watched 6 episodes. I have 2 episodes left and I'm gonna have to call it a night, but I am obsessed. I am obsessed. This is like the angsty dramatic romances that I read in TV format, and I'm eating this shit up. Like, it is so good, so dramatic, and every like point that an episode ends on makes me want to watch more. But the thing that's putting me off is, like I said, I have my day off tomorrow and I don't want to ruin it by sleeping in because I stayed up all night watching this. So I'm gonna go to bed, and me, idiot child that is me, I don't even know where my book is. That's the point we're at. I'm so disinterested in my book, I don't even know where it is. But I think I'm on page 30 of the 100. I don't have anything to say about it because I've only read 30 pages. But I read those 30 pages while I was waiting for my dinner to cook, and I was like, oh, I'm easily gonna read at least half of this today, which is like what I needed to do because it's such an easy read and like the font is massive and it won't take me long at all. I knew as I thought that I was jinxing myself and that something would happen, and I've just ended up watching this all night. My intention was to watch 2 episodes and then move on with my life, but I watched 2 episodes, worked out, had a shower, and then watched another 4 episodes. So this is where we're at, and I'll see. I might try and wake up really early tomorrow and watch the 2 episodes in the morning before Curtis gets out of bed.
You kill me when I'm wrong and you kill me when I'm right, but you know it wouldn't kill you if you tried to be nice. Stop making me choose between you and Fortnite. Now I'm telling you, you take yourself too seriously. I don't wanna hear you say we waste our time. Cause you're the one who's going home to be all alone.
Good evening or morning. It's 1 AM. I am 172 pages into the 100 by Cass Morgan, and it has suddenly occurred to me that I don't care. So I'm not going to be continuing to read that book. I care about the plot. Like, the plot is decently interesting, but I'm 172 pages into it and it's just like not progressing. So it follows 4 teenagers predominantly. It's a YA sci-fi / dystopian. I'm still not sure like which way it leans more, but we're following Clark, Wells, Bellamy, and Glass. They've all got stupid names, but they were all juvenile delinquents for some reason, but apart from Bellamy, actually. They've all been sent on this mission to go down to Earth to recolonize the Earth because essentially it was just like environmental stuff and nuclear war destroyed the Earth, so loads of people escaped into space and they're now trying to see if they can come back. Something happened with Clark's parents and that's how she ended up there, but she was in a relationship with Wells when she ended up there, and he is the Chancellor's son, so he purposefully puts himself into confinement and the juvenile delinquent area so that he will be chosen to go on this mission to Earth so that Clark doesn't have to go by herself. And then we have Bellamy, who wasn't in confinement but kind of made his way onto this ship that was going down to Earth last minute because his sister was in confinement. It's not called confinement, it's like detainment or something, because he wanted to go down to protect his sister. And Glass was supposed to go down, but she used the distraction that Bellamy caused to get off the ship because she was in love with this guy and kind of just disappeared without a trace. He didn't know what had happened to her, so she just runs off to find him, and it's like there's no intrigue in this at all. Like, Cass Morgan is trying to do this thing where, like, I don't think we know how any of them ended up in this detainment. She's just like purposely not telling you, like it's not building intrigue and like dropping clues or anything. It's just like somebody says, so what did you do? And then the character that you're reading from is like, I said nothing, I was trying to avoid the question. And then it just kind of like moves on and everything's just like skirting around what's actually going on. And the relationship drama between everyone, like in almost every chapter, the majority of the chapters, they go into a flashback. So all of these relationships were pre-established and then they were separated and now they're being brought back together. It's like doing flashbacks of when they were madly in love, and it's like, okay, but I don't believe it and I don't care because I never saw the progression of this. I never saw the relationship building. But like, I am intrigued about what they're going to do on Earth, because obviously this plot about them going into Earth is going to evolve into something more. But 172 pages in, they've pretty much just landed and they're just like trying to establish themselves and find food and water and heal people that were injured during the flight down to Earth. And I'm like, but I want to know what is going to happen on Earth. And it's a really quick read as well. Like, I was on page 30 up until 6 p.m. today, and I read until 8 p.m. and then I played Divinity 2 with Curtis until midnight, and I've just read for an hour again. So I've read 140 pages in 3 hours, which is kind of fast for me because I'm slow as fuck. And I could finish it kind of quickly, another 3 hours, because I'm over halfway now, but I just can't be arsed, to be fair. So DNF in this was actually included in my unhaul project anyway, so it was one of the ones that I wasn't sure about but wanted to give a try before I decided if I was unhauling it. And it was on my Bookopoly TBR to, I was gonna say to read a chance card. It was a chance card pick. I put a ton of my these books will self-destruct in 12 months videos into my negative chance card options. So I feel like this is going to be a pattern that repeats, because there's a reason that they're included in my unhaul project and the self-destructing books video. So now that I've given up on that, I have 2 days to read Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I picked this up like way before BookTube, way before I'd even heard of this, just because it sounded interesting. But I hate these cheap shiny covers. I really hated it. And it was only when I heard Piera talking about it that I realized that it was like a relatively well-known book. I'm going back years now, like 2017 when I heard Piera talking about it. But this one is set in, I think it's set on Mars, and there's a caste system, and all I know is that the reds are like the bottom caste and the golds are the top, and the reds are mining for something on Mars, and I think that they believe that they're doing it because they're mining for a valuable resource that people need to survive, but they're actually just being treated as slaves to mine this thing. I'm assuming they're mining it for the golds to like make a profit off it. And I think it's an adult sci-fi, and I just looked at it and I was like, oh, it's actually kind of short. It's only 382 pages, but the text is real small, especially if we compare it to this, which I've just been reading. Like, we have a significant difference in the size of the text here, so this is going to take me a little bit longer to read, but if necessary I can extend this vlog until Monday as well. And I really hope I love this, because I bought the Fairy Loot set, and I bought the Fairy Loot set kind of just being like, oh well, if I don't like it I can just get rid of the set. But I kind of hoped that I would get to have the set for longer before I found out whether I liked it or not, just in case I really hate this book or I'm just not that interested. And I bought the super fancy special editions, but I may not start this tonight. I may just go take my makeup off and go to sleep, but I may also read a chapter, so keep your fingers crossed for me, because I do like sci-fi. I swear I like sci-fi, but this vlog has just been full of disappointment so far, even though I kind of anticipated it with Ready Player 2, and that was on my own haul project, so not a big surprise. But I actually really want to love this, so I'm gonna be really sad if I don't. So I'm looking some kind of way today, but it is Sunday, and I was gonna say it's my day off. It's supposed to be a day off, but I'm just doing some like Photoshop little bits that I need to do. So I've just done my Bookopoly poll for my patrons. I have an email to respond to. I need to make the schedule for the first half of Buffy season 3 for my patrons, thumbnail for a video I filmed yesterday, and schedule my video for today. Then I also have to do a food shop. I want to work out, I want to get a bath, and I have the Buffy watch along with my patrons at 9 p.m. tonight. So it's a busy day, and I'm not making much progress in this. I'm on page 84. So considering I only really started it yesterday, I'm not doing too bad. It's just a little bit more dense than I anticipated going into it, and I do believe that it does pick up, because I've heard some things about certain elements this book has, and that it's gonna pick up and be a lot more action based a little bit later into it. So I'm kind of just making my way up to that point. But this is an adult sci-fi, and as I said, it has a caste system. The reds are at the bottom and the gold are at the top, and the reds live under the surface of Mars, and they are mining for something called helium-3, and they believe that the reason that they are doing this is so that people can terraform Mars and also other planets, so that the humans on Earth can escape their dying planet and move to other planets and be able to live on the surface. However, what the reds don't know is that the planets are already being terraformed, like it's already at a point where people can live on the surface of the planets, and the reds just haven't been told this, so that they will keep mining for this helium-3. So our main character in this is Darrow, and he is a hell diver, which means that he's one of the people who does this mining for helium-3. Like, he's really involved in the process. I'm not sure about the specifics of it, because this has a lot of like technical language associated with the world of the story that I haven't gotten to grips with yet. That is why it's proven a little bit dense for me, not because because the writing is overly complicated, although it doesn't have the most simple writing style, so it's like just a little bit of an adjustment period as I get used to the writing style. And while I'm doing that, I'm learning all of these terms about the world and like the system, which seems quite complex. I can't say for sure right now until I actually grasp it properly, but it is based on the Roman Empire, so it's reminding me a lot of An Ember in the Ashes, pretty much in no other way aside from that it has heavy Roman Empire inspiration. But like, I only read Ember not too long ago, so it is reminding me a lot of that right now. But we are following Darrow, who is this helldiver, and he really believes in what he's doing. Like, he thinks that he is helping people. The reason that he's doing this is to help humanity, but his wife and some of his family members are not as disillusioned as him. As a helldiver, Darrow is somebody who is like reasonably looked up to as well within his community, and his wife believes that he has the potential to stir people into an uprising. So she pretty much orchestrates her own capture and execution so that she will die as a martyr, and that will spur Darrow into action. I'm definitely, like, I've heard this compared to the Hunger Games, and I'm definitely seeing the similarities there so far. I believe that there is an element that comes a little bit later in the book that makes it even more like the Hunger Games, but right now with where I'm at, we have this underground mining area, and a lot of the elements of this setting are reminding me a lot of District 12 in the Hunger Games. I am enjoying it. Like, as soon as I started it, I was like, this is something that I'm going to be interested in, and I like that it's making my brain work a little bit more to like kind of work out what's going on. But that is all I can really say about it so far, because I'm still getting to grips with the world, and also the plot hasn't like fully kicked in yet. But that is where I'm at with this. I thought I would give you a little bit of a check-in because I have like 290 pages of this left, and I don't think I'm gonna finish it today. So this vlog is almost definitely gonna run into tomorrow, which is absolutely fine because I don't have anything major on for tomorrow. And in terms of Bookopoly, I only have this and one more book, and the other book I have to read won't take me very long at all. So that is absolutely a-okay, but I'm really hoping that I can blast through a chunk of that tonight, because I do actually just really want to snuggle down and read. But I also, like, I really need to dye my hair because with it being hot last week, I washed it a lot. So I pretty much washed all of the colour out of it, so it needs like a top up on colour. And with my back hurting, I also haven't had a bath in a little while. So hopefully I can blast through all the things I need to do. I need to also go get a little food shop, so then I can get in the bath and read, and then snuggle down with a book for most of the rest of my evening.
All I ever really wanted was a couple of drinks. I didn't show up here looking for a fight. It's been 3 weeks since you called me. I'm too hung up and I can't sleep. Or would you hear me out tonight? 'Cause I need nothing more than you. No, I need nothing more than you. To come back home. To come back home. To come back home. Won't you come back home? And I should have seen it coming, should have put up a fight. 'Cause laying without you, it don't feel right. And 22's no place to be when all your friends are drunk and we can't grow up. So I messed up, and it's gotten me feeling that I need nothing more than you.
Okay, so I have to admit, I have been struggling quite a bit. Oh, let me just, I have a tripod here, I should probably use it. So I gotta say, I have been struggling quite a bit with Red Rising. I finished on, what page did I get to last night? Like page 206, and I'm currently on page 262. And up until everything I'd read up until the 206 page mark, like, I was enjoying it and there were elements of it that I liked. I really loved some of the characters, but I felt like the writing and the language was making me struggle to become emotionally emotionally invested in the story. And as well as that, we have a confusing-ish or complex political structure in here. You have the caste system between all of the colours, and it's not like a simple small caste system. Like, there are tons of different colours. You have like obsidians, silvers, golds, pinks, purples, greens. Like, every single colour is a caste, and a lot of them aren't really relevant to the plot, but they do exist. And trying to remember like what each caste is, like what they're known for. And as well as that, you have like castes within the caste. So within the golds, you also have the bronzes, which I do think are part of the golds, even though they may be a different colour, and also the pixies. So I was struggling with all of that. It also has its own dialect, so like they speak in a certain way. A lot of it reminds me of like what you'll see in old movies in like the 50s, and the way that like British movies, especially the way they talk in that, like good day old sir and all of that kind of stuff. And each caste also has its own kind of dialect, and then within that there's different kinds of dialects. There's also a ton of characters, because we start off with Darrow being a red in the red area. He then has like a different area, some things happen to him with a different set of characters, and the area that he's in now starts off with like 100 different golds in it. And while it does get smaller and we're not following everybody, that is just within one house, and then there's all of the other houses, and there's some notable characters from other houses as well. So I was just struggling to wrap my head around all of this and like the different things, because as well as all of the cast and stuff, there's also the different houses. Different houses are known for different things like within the golds. So I was just struggling through all of that, and because of that I felt like I wasn't enjoying it as much as I would be if I had a better grip on all of that stuff. But then the last 50-60 pages I've just read, I've gotten really into it. Cody thought that I would really love this series, especially because of the angst and the drama, and I was struggling to see, like, there was a bit of angst and drama throughout the beginning with Darrow's wife, but as usual with me, things that are established prior to the start of a series and don't really happen over the course of a book, I struggle to connect to. So I wasn't too bothered about that, even though it is like Darrow's driving motivation for wanting to tear down the goals from the inside. But there has been tension building throughout between some of the different characters, and some of it has just come to a head, and I really love it. And let me tell you, I adore Severo. Severo is a little demon, but there is just something about him that I really love, and I don't know whether it's because he's like this little underdog character. I don't know whether it's because he's like a demon and completely batshit, but I adore Severo. And I also really love Cassius. And I know, because of, you know, just being in the book community and knowing certain things about series, I know that there are 3, I believe, main characters in this series, and I know which ones they are. I know their names based on like things like fan art, and also watching booktubers like Piara, who I've mentioned in this video, who loves certain characters. And so I know that certain characters aren't of those main 3, which makes me really worried for those characters that I really love that I don't think are in the core cast. Obviously, when I've heard all of these like reviews and stuff and seen fan art, it is without context, so they could still be around, just not as prominent, or I don't know. But I'm seriously concerned. Content warnings in this as well for like themes of slavery, all sorts of like torture, brutality, death. There is also animal deaths in here, and also rape as well. But yeah, it's super violent, super bloody. The writing style is a little bit like, I'm still fully adjusting to it, and I still don't have a grip on the whole world building and all of that system, but I'm really getting into it now. I have 100 and is it 20 something, like 115-ish pages left, so I am still hoping to get this done tonight. But I have to order some stock, order some stuff from Waterstones, because I don't have some books that I need for book clubs. Like, I don't even have Witch Shadow, and I need to be reading that really soon. And I'm going to be playing Fortnite tonight with Ryan, so I'm going to go quickly order that stock and then see how much of this I can get through before dinner, and then pick up the rest after I've worked out after dinner. But before I play Fortnite, good evening and welcome to hell. It's 2:30 AM. Why am I awake at 2:30 AM, you may ask? Well, 1, I was finishing Red Rising. 2, I thought it was a little bit suspicious that Hamilton had not peed in his litter box today. So I did a little hunt, and I discovered that instead he had peed on the spare bed, which I love that. He's only ever done that once before, and he peed on my bed, which is why he's no longer alone in the bedroom, but the spare bedroom is his room. He sleeps in there all the time, usually. I mean, he hasn't been in there a while because of restriction and injury and stuff, but we gave him his freedom back today, and he thanked me by peeing on the spare bed. So I have been washing the bed in and dealing with the mattress, which I have to go do another round of mattress stuff before I go to sleep, and honestly I don't wanna. But the actual point, I finished Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I loved this. By the time I got to the end, I gave it 4 stars because I struggled through the beginning with the writing style and the adjustment, and I just wasn't as invested in the story. Like, this book is everything that I've said it is. We're following Darrow. He's mining, he mines this helium-3, he's a red, and he discovers that he's actually being misled, and the reds don't actually have to mine for this. Like, they're being forced into slavery based on their colour, and everyone else, or like other castes, are living a grand old life. So essentially he starts to masquerade as a gold, and he is trying to rise through the ranks of the golds so that he can destroy them from the inside. And he goes to this school where he has entered into a series of trials. It got a lot more interesting when we got out of the red area of this book, and there was a little bit of like prep. I really enjoyed that section. And then through the beginning of the school bit, I started to struggle again because I was learning all of those things that I talked about before, like the different systems within the golds, all of the different houses, the different types of language that they use. But then we got to the page 200 mark, and I pretty much loved it from that moment on. I did not expect the plot twists in this book. I wouldn't say that I was like shook by any of them, but it was interesting to like keep flipping what I thought I knew on my head and learning new things about certain characters. My favorite thing about this is the characters. I also really like the politics in here. This is essentially a martial fantasy plot within a sci-fi. So we have this Roman Empire structure. The majority of it is martial, and the only real thing that makes it sci-fi is that they are on Mars. There's like low gravity and stuff that's mentioned. They have electrical weapons, like pulse weapons and stuff, and it is a dystopian, but the plot is very fantasy, or like your dystopian uprising plot. But with the way that this is structured with the Roman Empire stuff, it reads more like martial fantasy in terms of like the bulk of the plot of this. But the characters, so Darrow, I wasn't too fussed about him for most of the book, but I ended up really liking him by the end. I really love Cassius and where we left his character. I'm interested to see how that progresses. I definitely wanted to go a certain way. I think Severo is my favorite character. I adore Severo. He's this tiny guy amongst all of these like gold giants, and he doesn't do things conventionally, and he is just like a little terror, but I absolutely adore him, and I'm quite interested in adopting him right now actually. And I also do really like Mustang, although not as much as I liked the rest of the characters in here. I did like a lot of the side characters as well. I really liked Pax. I liked some of the way that the characters changed throughout this book. So character work in here, absolutely 100% the best. Really liked the plot when it started going in certain directions and like where it eventually comes to, and there were certain directions that the plot took that I did not expect, especially coming towards the end of this book. And now I just really want to read Golden Sun, but I haven't got time for that. I have heard that Golden Sun is very action based, and also that the plot goes in a bit of a different direction, so I'm excited to see how that unfolds when I do get to it. But I'm happy that I like this because I really wanted to like it. And aside from Red Rising, we've had a pretty disappointing vlog this week. We had Ready Player 2, which I was not a huge fan of, and then the 100 that I DNF, which is sad because I always say like I think sci-fi would be my favorite genre if I read more of it. And then we've had a entirely sci-fi vlog that had mainly disappointing books. Well, the 100 wasn't disappointing. It was on my own whole challenge for a reason. Like, I didn't think I was gonna love it, and I proved I was right. But that about brings us to the end of this week's vlog. Next week I'm going to be reading, I think, exclusively romance. I have a couple of romance buddy reads, and then throughout the week I might as well just pick up some more romance. So please do stay tuned for that if you are at all interested. But aside from that, guys, I hope you have liked this vlog if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.